Hi folks, Steve here. I'm just going to talk about the Outwardly Australian Cinema Assessment, which is due on the Monday, 21st of August. I want you to write between 800 to 1,000 words, and it's worth 40% of your overall mark. So there is a reading by Ben Goldsmith in week 2 called Outwardly Australian Cinema. And this is a quote from the article, and it says, oh, this is the quote. Over the last 20 years or so, Australian cinema's international relations in production and policy have expanded and become more complex, while those with Hollywood have been transformed. The boundaries of the national cinema stretch much further than the national territory. Australian production and post-production companies work in Australia with international partners or on international projects. So it's really starting to unpack the idea that Australia now is an international cinema, and to limit Australia to national discussions and conversations is very, very problematic. So I want you to write an article sort of around this whole idea of outwardly Australian cinema. If you disagree with this idea, then you may want to discuss that in an article also. So what you have to do for this assessment is this. You will trace one Australian film from the course. It doesn't have to be a film we've seen yet, but it does have to be a film in the course. To discuss how it positions itself both within and outside of the Australian cinema, here you are to discuss the marketing and broader distribution of the film in addition to ways it represents wider ideas of international Australia. So you might just look at, the on-screen representation, right, and the way that it's representing an international Australia. You might also want to look at the post-production, whether it was in Australia. You might want to look at the crew, the director, the ways that the film was marketed internationally. There are numerous ways of looking at an international Australian film. So that's really what I want you to do. You're going to take one film and really unpack it. It has to be between 800 to 1,000 words, because ideally I'm going to publish a dossier on the for the journal Senses of Cinema, and they're going to pick like the best 10 from the course, and they're going to put them in a little dossier, and they only want them to be between 800 and 1,000 words, so that's why it can't be more than 1,000 words for the assessment. Okay, some aspects which you could discuss in relation to choice of film, like I said, marketing, advertising, trailers, posters, whether the film is an international co-production, casting of internationally marketable actors. We're looking at actors across the course, use of international genres, whether the film was exhibited outside of Australia, and ways that Australia is represented on screen. Please note that all of the films in the first half of the course are easily defined as international Australian films. Therefore, to help with this assignment, it is important that you listen to the audio lectures available on Blackboard and consider how the films are being discussed in the tutorials, which is very, very, very important. Okay, just the assessment criteria. Originality of thought. I think that is very important. How much originality and thought you're actually putting into this work. You can be as abstract as you want with this assessment if you like. Demonstrate a knowledge of theoretical material. Clearly you need to have done the Goldsmith reading and some other readings around that. Ability to analyze, express, and develop your ideas. Engagement with the materials, expansiveness of your approach to the course, and demonstrated ability to do close readings. Okay, so I'll leave it there. It should be a fun assessment. I want you to have some fun with it, and there are some examples of other things, other ways that people have done this assessment on Blackboard. Okay, leave it there. Bye for now.